According to me, I'm connected to a network. Am I back? Am I more back? More back than I was before? Huh, okay, well, this may be something on my end. We are having slightly unusual weather, and whenever that happens, you know, the internet is in peril. Alright, so also for those of you just joining me, I am essentially taking off-the-shelf craft plastic plants and combining them in Frankenstein ways to make these trees. And since they're different colors, I'm having to blend them together with paint. I need to do some kind of paint on it anyway to sort of downplay the plasticness of the pieces. The little bits and bobs. For this particular purpose, I'm using plastic plants because this is going to be a backdrop that I'm moving a lot of things on and off of. So I fully expect these plants to be getting bumped and jostled frequently. And a lot of diorama type plants do not take well to that sort of treatment. So while these plastic boys are not always the most realistic, they are the most hardy. So you can see specifically this kind of interface here where I've got the black and then I pop these green leaves on top of the black branches. Trying to blend that all together. What I'm using here is a 50-50 mix of brown acrylic paint with Mod Podge. So that will also help adhere the disparate parts together. Besides blending them visually, we'll also cement them physically. Oh, lost one. Not sure from where. Let's see if it'll stay on with this Mod Podge glue paint. Oh, I see it actually like snapped off somehow. Yeah, we'll see. I have a question for the audience. I'm working on a document about what I think is the causes of something that I call franchise entropy. So I'm sure there's a lot of nerds on here, like myself, who are big fans of various franchises that are out there, such as your Star Warses, your Doctor Who'ses, your Marvels, Lord of the Rings, etc., right? Video game franchises as well, you know, Zelda, Final Fantasy, whatever. So you're a fan of these things, but also you're frustrated that over time it seems like less and less of the stuff that they put out works for you for various reasons. I'm trying to separate these reasons conceptually because sometimes it's simply the case that you discovered that franchise when you were young. It basically imprinted on you, and as you grow, you're essentially aging out of what the franchise was setting out to do. And you're frustrated that it's not aging with you. So a good example of the counter to this would be like Harry Potter. Like, the books started out very grade school, and then as they went on, they got more, mature, darker, more mature subject matter, etc., right? I'm trying to think of a counter to that. Pokemon. Pokemon has never attempted to make more gritty, realistic, young adult or adult-oriented stuff. You could say the movie is kind of moving in that direction a little bit, but for the most part, it stayed pretty much as a grade school aimed franchise. Okay, so there's that. There's that frustration that it hasn't aged with you. There's other frustrations that, like, I feel like the franchise is simply not doing what it used to do. This is the way I feel about Star Trek. Like, Star Trek used to have a big differentiator to it, which was that it had an optimistic future. It was more about exploration and interesting philosophical conundrums than it was about having to blast bad guys. Okay, that's always been like Star Wars and Marvel. That's more the purview of those kind of things, where it's just like, clear good guy, clear bad guy, now fight. But Star Trek, over the past couple of decades, has been pushing more and more into that territory, where at this point it's essentially Star Wars with different alien races, and their spaceships are shaped differently, and they've got some different-ish tech, right? But like, other than transporters and replicators, what is the difference in tech between Star Wars and Star Trek? Nothing really significant. Yeah, and so that's like, and I would pin that, what I would call a problem. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it was the right thing for the franchise to do. But in my mind, as a fan, and I'm also a fan of I actually like Star Wars more than I've always liked Star Wars more. However, what I liked about Star Trek is that it had a different tone and a different, like, thematic core to it. And now that it's the same as Star Wars, it's kind of like, I mean, we already have Star Wars. We already have Like, there's a million franchises out there that are just like good guys and bad guys fighting each other. Like, why did Star Trek abandon the thing that made it different and interesting? So, to me, that comes down to as a franchise ages, it gets distributed to more and more different creatives to do what they want with it. And a lot of those creatives don't understand that there's a core like pillar to it, thematic or conceptual pillar or differentiator. And they just go with what they know and what they like already. So I'm curious to hear from any of you guys if you have similar experiences with franchises where you're frustrated that they're doing a particular thing. You don't know why they seem to be doing that thing consistently now. Because I'm trying to design my franchise from the ground up to try to avoid some of those pitfalls. Oh no, another big lag spike, no! Did anyone hear anything I just said? Probably not. Are we back? Are we alive? We may have to just call it if they're... because I don't see anything on my end I could do, so... Thanks, Oddwood Man. Yes, I grow my own hair. It's 100% organic, head-grown hair. I also cut it myself. I dye it myself. I style it myself. And so if you need hair tips to make a mix between, like, I would say like anime protagonist, like JRPG protagonist hair mixed with the Karen, then you know who to come to. Oh, so longer hair equals better? All right, that's fair. That could work. You just scrunch your hair up and just take a big pair of shears and slice through it and see what happens. Someday, we're going to be able to 3D print this kind of foliage in color in flexible plastic, and it's going to be so wonderful. Maybe I'll just go to sleep and then you can wake me up when we get to that point in the beautiful future. I'll freeze myself in a snowbank and you guys come wake me up when 3D printers can do full color, flexible material. This particular project is for a streaming backdrop for my my upstairs streaming thing. So I'm making a cliff side here, and there's going to be trees on the cliff side along with places to put my sculpture to display them. Oh, look at that. I missed it. I missed a bud. Bad bud. That reminds me. Let's see how these buds are doing. Let's do a contrast before and after. That is not significantly different. Is it different even at all? I dare to say no, not different at all. Okay, let's try a different thing while we're here. I do have a, is that the darkest shade? Not sure. This is strong tone. Okay, I have dark tone that I should try. Let's see if that makes a difference real quick. If this doesn't work, I'll just have to airbrush. Yes, XPS foam, indeed. That stuff. Yeah, Proxon foam cutters are great. Got one of those. What kind of stuff have you made? Have you done like ruins and stuff, or rocks, mountains, cliffs? All of the above? Huge tower? Nice. 2 to 3 feet tall. Awesome. That sounds epic. I've got a tallish tower. I made a dice tower. You can see it back there. A ridiculously oversized dice tower. Unnecessarily large. I got a YouTube video about it, if you're curious, on the Josh Foreman YouTube channel. Yep, all XPS. Looks like I got to use exactly the right amount of paint, like just as much as I put in here, and it looks like we're going to finish right on the dot of our allotted time. Almost like I planned it. Imagine if I was that good at planning. How amazing would that be? What would my life be like? So efficient. You like that wall of textures? Yeah, that was a good experiment, a good exercise and experiment. Probably be making a sequel to that as I learn more. My goal is that someday I'll have such an extensive experience and knowledge of texturing with XPS foam that I could reproduce any reference photo. All right, it looks like we're at our time and I'm finishing up, so let's go ahead and find someone cool to raid. In the meantime, Quindy posted my links to all my other fun stuffs if you want to check out more, including, but not limited to, these incredible fantasy adventure novels on Amazon. Buy them today. This is the one you should get first. It's the first one. It makes a lot more sense to read the first book before the second book. Trust me. And with that, I will bid thee all a fair adieu. Have a good one. Have a good raid, everyone. See you next week. Bye.